Hello and happy Friday! Welcome to the Weekly Objective, your source for gaming news and geek culture. I'm your host, Brad Glasgow.
You loved Brad, and then you totaled him.
On this week's episode, we'll talk about the end of Anita Sarkeesian's Tropes series. I'll give a mini review of GTA Online's Tiny Racers, and of course, the new Call of Duty. But first, let's talk Nintendo. Nintendo announced the 2DS XL on Thursday, which appears to be the end of its foray into 3D handhelds. It basically looks like a 3DS without the 3D. The 2DS XL will hit American shelves on July 28th, the same day that Nintendo releases Hey Pikmin and Miitopia. The 2DS XL will retail for $150. The big news of the week, or at least the biggest money-making game news of the week, was the reveal of Call of Duty World War II. They were light on details at the reveal event, but they did note that the game will hit store shelves in November and will feature a return to, quote, boots-on-the-ground gameplay. We can expect more details to come out at E3 in the middle of June.
We're in this huge house with all your friends. We have telephones, we have a car, your parents are gone, and you say so?
Come on, Sarah, what's the first thing you think of?
Party!
The old full-motion video game Night Trap is being re-released for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. First appearing in 1992, Night Trap is most notable for being almost single-handedly responsible for U.S. Senate hearings on mature video games, and the subsequent creation of the Entertainment Software Rating Board. Thankfully, the days of moral panic about violence against women in video games ended back in the early 90s and was never brought back in style. Anita Sarkeesian wrapped up her Tropes vs. Women in Video Games series this week with a look at the Lady Sidekick, where she complained that female companions primarily exist to open doors. Sarkeesian, who is no fan of cleavage,
Busting her out of captivity while she busts out of her corset,
complained of Alex Vance from Half-Life 2 and others, but she spent most of her time railing against BioShock Infinite, of which she said the following.
as the game tells players a garbage story which suggests that oppressed people are just as bad as their oppressors and that the truth is always somewhere in the middle.
In this video, she repeats the claim that seems to be the thesis for her Tropes videos, which is that the sexism prevalent in video games reinforces sexism in the real world. To my knowledge, she has never attempted to prove this claim, and she has repeatedly ignored my numerous requests for comments over the past 2 years. This concludes the Trope series, which made popular her intersectional feminist critique with the 3-part damsel in distress trope, first published back in March of 2013. Sarkeesian plans to begin a new video series which will mark her pivot away from video games and begin covering more mass media issues such as Muslim representation. She will begin fundraising for this new series soon. Make sure you subscribe to this channel where I'll post a video rebuttal to her Elizabeth criticism early next week. You're not going to want to miss it. In disappointing video game delay news, Square Enix released an investors document where they list both the Final Fantasy VII Remaster and Kingdom Hearts 3 in the fiscal year 2018 and beyond column. Now, fiscal year 2018 actually begins in October of 2017, but the and beyond part of that document means I certainly wouldn't hold my breath hoping to see either game this year. Grand Theft Auto Online released its new Tiny Racers mode this week. This gives the player an arcade-like top-down view of the race, complete with power-ups and 2D-like visuals. I had a chance to play it myself, and I have to say, I was a little disappointed. I had hoped for some fun arcade-like action as the game seemed reminiscent of old titles like Spy Hunter or Micro Machines. But the physics play out just like the regular races, except you have less of an angle to see if your car is flipping. You have to stay within this circle on the lead car or else your car explodes. What ends up happening is that the 4 cars mix it up at the start, and whoever comes out of it unscathed gets far enough ahead that everyone else explodes within like 6 seconds or whatever. But maybe I just didn't get properly adjusted to the new mode yet, I'm not sure. I do highly recommend people play this mode with a gamepad rather than keyboard and mouse, as the top-down view definitely favors analog controls. That will do it for this week's Objective. Please hit the thumbs up if you like this show, and hit the thumbs down if not. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Remember that these videos are made possible by audience donations to our Patreon, for which you can find a link in the description below. Speaking of the description below, you'll also find links to all the sources used in this news piece if you'd like to find out more. For Game Objective, I'm Brad Glasgow.
Nothing can replace Brad. Then Liberty Mutual calls, and you break into your happy dance.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.